What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Loveshack, and today we're going to be talking about 5 cards that are currently banned in Yu-Gi-Oh! That could come back to 1 without completely destroying the game. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to leave out cards like Wind-Up Carriers and Mighty, and Tribe Infecting Virus, as I do believe they probably could come back to 1 relatively easily, and I know many in the community share that same thought. But we're going to also exclude cards on the other side like Painful Choice and Graceful Charity, both of which are too good to ever see the light of day again in any type of competitive formats. So with that being said, let's take a look at 5 banned cards that could feasibly come back without destroying the game in this premiere edition of Yu-Gi-Oh! 5. First up, we've got Performapal Monkey Board. Now before y'all go crazy and say this would break the game and flip shit on its head, let me first point out that Performapal Skullcrobat Joker is banned and Perform Mage Plushfire is banned. So while Monkey Board is an inherently good card, without those combo pieces, it's not setting up some kind of nutso scale that's completely unbreakable. Yes, having a Performapal in your other zone makes it a scale 1 via scale 8, and if you don't have a Performapal, then it's a 4, so your ability to spam the board is a lot less, there. But when this card was at 1 or even at 3, we didn't have Link monsters, Pendulum monsters could be summoned anywhere, and it was a lot easier to just drop insane boards. Combo that with the fact that this can actually search any Performapal monster you need, you could play this, search Joker, and set scales from anything from 2 to 7, which was just nuts at its time. I don't think the card is fair, per se, but I don't see it doing anything at 1 while those other cards remain banned, and you could argue it might give Performapal or even some Pendulum-based decks a significant boost. So do I want Monkey Board back? Not really. Still a little skeptical on it, but I'm not going to go bananas if it does. Alright, I should also mention these are in no particular order, so whatever works. But the second one on the list, or the second card I want to talk about, is Tidal, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls. Now, for those of you following, Tempest came back, I think it was 2 formats ago at the time I made this video, and realistically speaking has not done much of anything. I'm of the belief that some of the Dragon Rulers are more powerful than others, specifically Redox and Blaster. You can make the argument that Blaster could come back too. I'm a little bit hesitant on that because of Salamangreat and just some of the combos. And I know people tell me they wouldn't play it, but you're probably wrong. I don't know. If you disagree, flame me in the comments. No pun intended there. But I think Tidal is probably the second least dangerous. That was a whole sentence. And also I'm a little bit biased because I think it'd be really fun for Mermails and might give that deck a significant boost. Tidal is, the same effect as all the other Dragon Rulers, but its discard effect is send itself and a water monster to send a monster from your deck to the graveyard. I just think it's a really fun card. I do worry that it could be somewhat abusable with a lot of the new Deep Sea Diva support coming out and things of that nature, but I also don't see that it would, instantly vault it over decks at least in their current state, Orcus and Striker and stuff like that, even Thunder, which I think Mermail can't really exist in a top capacity as long as Thunder Dragon exists. But I want to see Tidal back. I think it's going to be the next Dragon Ruler to come off the list, and this is not a prediction video. But, obviously, you may have your own opinions on it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below if you'd be in favor of Tidal coming off the list, or if maybe you think Blaster would be better, or if maybe you're just wrong and think Redox would be better. Either way, I think it might make a splash, but I don't think it would do anything too crazy, and for that reason, I think Tidal could come back to 1. Number 3, I think, is one that might polarize some people, but I've been pretty consistent on it for a while, and I remember the older formats of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where playing cards like Starlight Road were just created a fun atmosphere, and you had to sort of really think your plays through rather than just blindly setting everything. Harpies Feather Duster. OCG's had it back for, I think, a year, if not longer than that, and while it does see play in a lot of decks, I'm of the mindset that cards like Harpies Feather Duster existing creates a fun mind game within the actual duel. Back in the way that Gores and Tragodia used to, if you just set your whole fucking field and you don't know whether or not your opponent's going to duster it, you pretty much lose. Yes, but you're putting yourself in that position. However, with cards like Waking the Dragon and Starlight Road existing, although I unfortunately don't think Starlight Road would see anywhere near as much play now as it used to, even with Master Rule 5, I guess, offering Stardust Dragon a bit more viability, I still think Harpies Feather Duster wouldn't be that game-breaking card that maybe it would have been a few years ago, or even that Heavy Storm and Giant Trunade might be now. I know we're getting Lightning Storm in, I think it's Ignition Assault. That's basically like a Regeki Duster combo. I think having Duster itself wouldn't really break the game. And I think it's only fair that we get a shot with it, considering how long the OCG has had access to it. Alright, coming in at number 4, Cyberjar. Now for those of you who might think I'm crazy, I urge you to step back from the ledge for just a moment and realize that this card, while extremely powerful, is not nearly the powerhouse it was back in 2009 and before. I don't actually know exactly when it was banned, but I'm pretty sure it was 2009. Anyway, for those of you unfamiliar with Cyberjar, it's a flip effect monster, and when it's flipped face up, it destroys all monsters on the field, then both you and your opponent draw 5 cards, reveal them, summon as many level 4 or lower monsters as possible from what you draw, and add the rest to your hand. On paper, seems like kind of a nuts effect. And back when the game was super slow, it definitely was. Resolving a Cyberjar and getting cards on the field that would give you some kind of board presence over your opponent was extremely powerful, depending on whose turn it was, of course. But nowadays, you're talking about having to set this card and wait for your opponent to go, hope they don't pop it with something, or send it with a card like Dingirsu, or out it with another big card that's more prevalent in the meta that doesn't worry about face-down cards, and then also not have ways to respond to it. Not to mention your opponent also gets to utilize Cyberjar's effect. I'd be really interested to see what this card would do at 1 in the metagame. I don't think cards like Fiberjar should ever come back, because those are complete troll reset cards that don't do anything to actually create some kind of competitive game state. But realistically speaking, what does Cyberjar do for any deck that would not be competitive without it, but would suddenly become competitive with it? And until you can answer that question, I don't think the idea of Cyberjar coming back is as absurd as some people might think. So I expect this last one to be a little bit polarizing, and I kind of did that by design. We talked about this at Locals the other day because I was brainstorming some ideas for the video, and someone suggested Time Seal, and I was like, well, that sounds fucking stupid. Like, Time Seal skips the draw phase, it's ridiculous, it's like Yatagarasu, except it doesn't even have to attack. And then I started to really think about it, like, what does Time Seal do for me? Like, what is playing Time Seal at 1 in any type of competitive deck that isn't Chainburn or Mystic Mine actually going to do for me? Skipping your opponent's draw phase is a neat ability, but you have that with cards like Drop Off, basically. I mean, the only difference with Drop Off versus Time Seal is that if a card's effect activates in grave, you're technically helping your opponent. But realistically speaking, it's achieving a similar result most of the time. Would Time Seal actually see play in anything competitive right now? Would you rather play Time Seal at 1 in a deck over other cards? You know, if you're playing Traps, you're going to play Solemn Strike, you're going to play Solemn Judgment, you might play Infinite Impermanence. Why am I going to waste a slot on Time Seal? I think if it was at 3, you'd have a totally different discussion because you could make trolly control decks that just sort of shut your opponent down. And I do worry about some decks that like can loop the hand or rip cards and then lock your opponent out of having a turn. But more often than not, I can't sit down and think of decks in my head that I'd build that Time Seal would be like, oh, I got to play this because this makes this deck better. What do you guys think? Do you think Time Seal is probably a little bit too ridiculous? Do you think it's just one of those cards that somebody would find a way to utilize it, or maybe Trap Trick or something, to utilize it and be sure that you skip your opponent's draw phase? And what kind of result does it really net you, like to devote that card in your 5-card opening hand to have one of them be Time Seal? I think it's probably too good. I don't think we'll ever see it back, but I do think it's interesting to discuss because there are certainly cards on the list that would be a lot more devastating than Time Seal. So pretty much, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This was sort of a first attempt at this. I do like the discussion video concept, and I wanted to do something a little bit different instead of a Banlist prediction video. But if you want to see a Banlist prediction video, let me know. I might be able to put something together. Let me know, do you agree with these choices? Do you think any of these cards maybe are way too good and should never come back? Or do you think I was completely ridiculous? Or do you agree with me? Drop a comment down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time right here at Loveshack.